Okay, Nikki, why don't we get started? And let me check in with the Gaylord. Okay. All right. So go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, so technically this is Gaylord's meeting, Gaylord and Melvin, right? Because they've got all the sponsorship and everything locked down. So I'm really just listening to see what I need to do from a project management standpoint, like if they give me any directives. So Melvin, if you have any, or when Gaylord gets on, if he has any, or if anyone, Pam, how are you? I saw you come on. I didn't get to say hello, but I just wanted to. I don't, this isn't my meeting, so I just want to make sure where we are is we're still waiting, of course, on the final input to the hotel so that we can get that squared away, because I think the team needs from me, outside of the sponsorship package, we need a price, right, to give people so they can share the registration and all that stuff. Melvin will need that pricing to put on the website. So obviously once you get that final input to me, I can get it to the hotel rep who's waiting to make sure we lock in everything. And then really from there, I mean, the sponsorship work that Gaylord, Melvin, and everyone did a couple weeks ago, it looks solid to me. I looked on the website. I mean, it looks like Melvin already sent us an email saying he's updated that because you were ready to show it. And if I'm not mistaken, Melvin, it's ready for like corporate, government. It's ready for anyone, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
That content is from the last meeting, and the PayPal link is on there where they can purchase from the website.
but
So
so Melvin, the packages that we've used before, we I, this is where I think there's an integration, I guess. And Oscar is designing a package, but really need to, and he doesn't want to go back and forth because so the input that's needed. And Nikki, I think I sent you early on the package that Simbogale had done from Africa, and PowerWorks. So we have to send that kind of package to sponsors and speakers and everybody else, especially who's going to be on the planning committee.
yeah, I thought that our thinking was, and Nikki's with it, that last time we talked to Gaylord is Gaylord and Oscar's doing an overall sponsorship package, which includes IELZ. All you have to do is pull out IELZ and use the current, whatever component they've got within the overall. It includes the description of IELZ. So all you have to do is pull it out and then add the content for the IELZ sponsorships. So the packages are similar in look and feel. Because if you might hand it off to someone you want to be an annual sponsor, which should have all the IELZ content in there. Well, then all you have to do is remove the other pieces of the sponsorship packet, and you're left with the IELZ, and then swap out the features for each level with the ones that are solely for IELZ. Now, that brings up another question, and I don't know if you caught this, Nikki. That package we did that I've got up on the website, is that for the annual, Keith, or is that just for IELZ? It's just hit me on that.
It's just for IELZ.
Okay,
Hey,
so
Gaylord,
they're creating.
On the IAOZ website.
hey, are you getting on your meeting?
Yeah, I can jump on.
Okay.
I'm in another meeting. I'll give me about a minute and I'll jump off. Okay, I'll jump on.
Thank you.
All right, bye bye.
Okay, well then, Keith, send me the one from last year from Zimbabwe, and I'll look at that one and make the changes, because the infrastructure is there. I don't quite remember what it looks like, but if you send me that, then I can take that off of Oscar and Gaylord's plate and finish up that IEOZ and get it to Nikki.
Right.
So send me the one she did last year.
I'm not familiar with that, so.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. I did send it to you, Nikki. Let me make sure.
Well, and if it was, I think at one point you were kind of just forwarding emails, so can't make sense of everything. I don't even know who that name is that you said. I'm not even familiar. So
Symbol
it's a
Empower
good time
Works.
to bring it back. Either way, I mean, I had
Here
set
it
up all
is.
those folders. If I didn't mention it or don't have any, haven't addressed it, it's still lost in the sauce. I think you might have forwarded me like 100 emails. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so
it's on the Google Drive as well. But I'm looking at it right now, and it's beautiful.
okay, well,
It's
send that to me now. Send it to me,
absolutely beautiful.
and I'll have that knocked out tomorrow. I'll knock it out.
Now,
Of
that's
course,
awesome.
I'm sure it's branded for Africa, but we can swap out the graphics. But I'm looking at the framework. So yeah, send me that email now.
Okay, I'm going to send it to Oscar,
No, don't send it to
Nikki.
them because there's no
Okay.
reason
he's
for them
trying
to
to take
have
it
it
off
until I
of
get it
Oscar's
done.
plate.
Yeah.
Right.
So just send it to me, and when I get when I get it done, and then everybody can look at it.
Okay, Lord.
Okay, Gaylord's on.
Yes, I am.
Oh, hey,
Hello,
Gaylord.
everyone. Apologize
What's
for
up, man?
being late. I was on another call.
Oh, damn that. You was late. We ain't going for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, Gaylord, we were talking about that. I'm going to take the framework. So what we understand is you and Oscar are working on the annual sponsorship package, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to take the IEOZ from the items that you gave me a couple of weeks ago, and
Yes,
I'll
sir.
create the IEOZ. So don't worry about that one.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the content from what we did from the last meeting and insert it into a framework, and then I'll get it to you and Oscar to review.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so Gaylord, this is, I think, your meeting. We were trying to make sure that actually by Wednesday, which is yesterday, we were going to have a completed package, and we've gone back and forth. You were on the call with me and Charles, in fact, and Richard has brought his input in, which has been incredibly important and valuable.
So has anybody seen the first draft of the package from Oscar?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right. So Oscar was trying to get that out by Wednesday. That was the goal. And I never got it, and I was hoping he would send it out today. I haven't seen it yet. So I'll just follow up with him and find
Okay.
out what the ETA is. Goal was to get it
Yeah,
done
he did
yesterday.
say that. Yeah, but he did say it was like a tight schedule and he couldn't make promises. So I know he's trying.
But
Okay. Well, I know it was a
so
extra vacation day in there on Monday, so that probably pushed him back a little bit.
Gaylord, do you want to give us an update rendition of what you anticipate the package doing and looking like, and go back to the goals and objectives? Because frankly, that overview at this point is probably updated, as well as helps to bring Nikki current, because in some good measure, this meeting is also about updates on where we are with the project IEOZ. And I want to be able to hear the two and be able to kind of help navigate some next step direction, or at least expectations, because we have made progress, but it's incremental, and it's been, at this point, to his credit, Landon's taken on more of court cases than he has, because his partner's in the hospital, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's not on this call. But we are waiting on his final input. We got input from Peter. We got input from Jose and me on the hotel proposal contract. It's not a proposal. And to Nikki's credit, she's been able to negotiate, as I understand it, till June 30th for the first deposit. So we have this opportunity to actually take another 30 days to bring in new revenue. And as I've said, I think as most recently as last meeting, and Candida is in California now, she needs to get that over to the City National Bank. And I say that, and that is defined by not just the IOZ, because frankly, they as a bank today do not have a footprint in Puerto Rico. However, they're interested very much so in supporting us in all we do, because what we do is what they need, which is to spread the word. And I think by next year, this time, City National will be RBC, which is, more of an RBC, which is the largest bank in the world, country, or whatever. They're in Canada. And so I don't want to see us in any way delay further or miss the train. And most of all, I guess, with that being said, and everything else that we've been doing, we need to be assured internally that everything we say, everything we do is tier one, top class, and is a magnet for the best and the brightest and first class. And I think we're in that era in that place, and certainly we have the talent. I'm just concerned about the understanding and clarity this group, let's just say this group and this recording, has on how we're distributing and communicating our offerings and for which project, to include not just IAOZ, but the other conferences, which includes the American Defense Alliance, which again, the corporate package is supposed to show all those two corporations and prime contractors on the consistent value that we bring. And that's why Richard Wagner called it a vendor activation program, because it's activating our commitment to work with prime contractors with selected clients who have been vetted and a part of a training program. And that training program will encompass 6 months of training under Oscar's tool and other services, which we used to call out of scope.
So which package is going to RBC, IELZ or the annual package?
It's the combination, which is the annual package.
Okay. Well, then we have to wait to see what Oscar produces, make the final tweaks, and it's ready to go. I'm sure whatever he's got, and what Gaylord's worked on, you're at 98%. So
yeah, so Charles, so Keith asked me just to give a quick update for everybody. So last week I gave to Oscar, and I spoke, and I told Oscar, basically we were looking to him to put together the final package, which would go to everyone. And he said that initially then that I was on Thursday, and on Thursday I spoke with him. On Friday I sent him all the information he needed in the email, and I copied all of you guys, so quite sure you all saw the email that kind of laid everything out in terms of what should be in this package that Oscar's going to put together. Now, he did tell me it was a tight situation trying to get it done by Wednesday, but he would do the best he could. But whenever you are on tight timeline, sometimes it slips, a day two. But I know that the work that's going to come out of Oscar is going to be top notch. That's all he does. He doesn't do secondhand work. So I gave him everything that he needed. I kind of put it into part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And I'm asking him to use his brilliance, his marketing and promo brilliance, to design this package. I think it's going to be a blockbuster. I think everybody we share it with is going to want to be engaged, because it's also using the impact, the results over the last 3.5 years of KDM working with the FPC. Pam was nice enough to get us the data that we needed, which is, wow, almost blew my head off when I saw it personally. So I think we're in a good place. I think we don't have to panic. Let's let Oscar do his job and let's see the first draft. Let's make whatever tweaks we need to make. Let's finalize it and let's get it out. So um, we're just waiting right now for that first draft from Oscar. And that's where we are.
Yeah, but Keith, where are you getting your leads list? I mean, where's your list of people you're going after?
So that's exactly my thought next, Melvin. I have asked everyone to send their list of companies. As you do that, you put your name on the revenue share. The package that we've been speaking about now is supposed to do the rest of the work. If we don't have a list of your corporations, Charles, Pam, Nikki, QME, Melvin, you're offered.
Yeah, but the thing is, anytime you go after, basically this is a cold email campaign or cold lead campaign. You're only getting 2 to 5% return, 8 maybe.
It's
So
not
you've got to be at least, you got to have a leads list of 500
so
to
let me say
1,000
this.
companies that you're hitting.
So Melvin, let me say this. This actually, and this is, I'm glad you brought it up because it gives me the opportunity to contrast what you just said. This is exactly the opposite. We've been around 4 years under the Federal Procurement Center. We've amassed over nearly 500 clients on record and relationships through conferences with prime contractors. That whole, production desk sits there. Half of it's filled with cards. The other half is in my desk. The other half is in, an automated spreadsheet thing that Manpreet put together. We are not short on companies that need to get this package, but the first and foremost, and that's maybe where you might not have been copied, I really thought you were, that we are saying to large companies, and there was been a little debate about this, but we know not only your time is valuable, but because of everything going on, the tariffs and everything, and how it's affecting your supply chain, your business, and the new acquisition community, the dumbing down of the FAR and everything else, you need to know that the small businesses that you have in your pipeline are trained, and we're training them. They're part of our cohorts. We're actually matching, identifying, and we're bringing value. This package is supposed to just be colorfully a reason why they want to put not just their logo on it, maybe a podcast conversation with them. That's where the media comes in. I've just about formalized a radio station partnership with Howard University and SBDC, Carl Brown, and we are going to go to the height of making sure our communities, our big businesses in our country is engaged, educated, and empowered through consistent, not just messaging, but conversations of policy, opportunity, and we are going to give these businesses a chance. And finally, because of our MOUs in place that represent nationwide footprints, in the case of hub zones, they represent rural, they represent hub zones, and small businesses, and the list goes on. It's very important to understand that this is not a cold call. It's very much so a engagement tool that we like to think that they're going to be proud to want to participate.
Okay, so going back, what was the question that would you ask for, Melvin, please? I forgot.
Now, I was asking about the leads list to give this package to.
Okay.
You only get a small, and I consider it, and Keith just corrected that, but I consider any type of new venture a cold call. And the percentage of getting in cold calls is 3 to 5 to 7%. So what's the list look like in order to get to at least, I would say your goal is probably what, 10 sponsors?
So part of
Yeah,
the
I mean,
plan, part of
go
the
ahead.
part of the plan that I had originally put together that kind of got suffocated was the what we call outreach plan. And there's a specific outreach plan in the original roadmap that I put together that we've never gotten to because the goal was to first get this package done. And once this package got done, then we would go into what we call outreach mode. But there's a very specific plan that I laid out for the outreach part. And it starts with Pam Ramos, who I had asked to lead, collecting all of the lead opportunities, the companies that we're going to target. Potentially, Keith just rattled off some of those 500 clients in the current database that we have. That means outreach efforts to get to every one of those CEOs and give them a personal invitation. Somebody's got to call them, somebody has to email them, but more importantly, somebody has to make contact with them, not just an email. We're not dependent on just an email. This thing needs to be a personal contact campaign, right? So you got 500 companies there. You've got prime contractors that our good friend Charles has relationships with. We need to put all that on this list that Pam Ramos is going to gather together for us, right? We also have large companies that Keith is talking to, and that all of us probably have contacts that we can outreach to. We need to get all those on a list. Now's the time for us to start accumulating that list. I've asked Pam to do that, and she's agreed that she would do it. That's all I've
And
asked her
you
to
said,
do is, Pam, please gather all the information for the list. I would suggest at this time that Keith put an email out within the next 24 hours to say, hey guys, we're shifting into outreach mode and we have to develop a list. Pam is going to lead gathering all the leads. I'm going to ask you all to start sending your contact leads for this campaign to Pam so she could put all that together in one place, in one central repository. And that's going to
so
be the list. Go ahead.
so I see in the way you're articulating it, it could be slightly confusing. And there's a difference between Pam putting a list together based upon the input she gets from us and maybe what she has herself.
Okay, so
Listen,
what's confusing about putting together that list? What's confusing about that?
because
Oh.
this project, right, is designed to be our revenue share model moving forward, which means that you simply put your name, meaning your company's name, their email address, that is your client, that is your account. The package will sell itself. And that's
So
kind of how we get away from cold
here's
calling.
here's where I'm coming from. You have to have somebody that's in charge of watching over and saying, this is where we are on this client, right? So if Pam is going to be the quote unquote, just the, somebody say something?
No, sorry, that was
I'm sorry. I'm driving
Oh,
and that was
okay.
GPS.
Okay, no problem. So all I'm suggesting is that Pam is the keeper of the list and she is tracking every week what progress we've made, right? So whoever's responsible for reaching out to their companies, because they said, hey, Pam, here's my list of the people I'm going after, right? Right? Then they will feed back to Pam every week what progress we're making, and Pam will note that in the spreadsheet of what progress we're making. I suggest
So
for the 500 clients that you have, Keith, currently, that you're going to have to sit down and divvy up that list and say, hey, Gaylord, I need you to take these 20 or 30. Melvin, you take these 20. Whoever in the team, you got to divvy up that list, and everybody is going to take responsibility for reaching out, calling, making contact with the CEO of that company and introducing them to our package and getting a response from them. That's,
okay.
To me, it's easy.
I'm appreciative of this input because it's certainly, I want to bring clarity additionally. But first, let me ask a question. Pam, you've agreed to this. This is what you're doing. You're on mute. This is, go ahead.
Yes, Keith. Yes, Keith. He didn't mean that I was going to only have the names, and that I would be the person that is collecting on the revenue share on each and every name. He meant that
No,
everybody send the list with their name, so the list would include the company that was referred and who referred the company.
okay.
And
All
that
right,
you
Who's
good.
following up
acknowledge
on
from
it? Right.
that.
I missed that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that,
I
okay,
want to, Keith, allow me to jump in, please. I think that this is a good point at which we can, this is exactly why, like, this is, let us, this is important to like be in like listening mode to say, we've got, you know, you can't, you don't remember it. You're not going to see all the emails. We've already been taking care of these, having these conversations. And this is exactly where we, are bringing in, like, you know, our committee. Pam's under the sponsorship committee. So I actually just, excuse me, just listening to that, what Gaylord and Tam just shared, it's in line with exactly what we're saying. We need one person to be able to control all that. Otherwise, we've got everyone's using
okay.
Word doc, Google Doc, all these different things. Oh,
Yeah.
email it to this person, email to that person. There's chaos. So this is, we should put a period on this and move forward. She's already agreed. I'm sure she has.
No. Listen, this is the first time that I'm hearing it in this way. I appreciate what you just said, and this is very much so the first time that I'm seeing this. And I want to add, by the way, and you know, she's got a heck of a list, Kimberly Johnson, to the sponsorship. She has two people, her and a person in Washington D.C. that will be bringing major companies to this place, and she'll be. This is where, you know, the digital syncopation and analog are all
So
Yeah, I
clashing.
think the thing is we have to just get to the point where, because there's always a new person added. There's always a new, like, you know, I asked for this list and compiled it a month ago, and Kimberly I just met her yesterday, right? So I understand you're saying that, but we can add her, but
Yeah.
easy. But, you know, like, there's got to be some sort of control and like, you know, if you just add a new person all the time, then someone else is saying they're going to do this. It's just like, and no one can be accountable for all of that, knowing like what's been added newly since we woke up, right? So here,
Okay, I hear you.
let me actually just, this is a good time, in my opinion, to jump in and share some of this stuff. Keith, just so that this is your core team plus a few other people. I think it's important to just jump into what before our time runs out, to share like the organizational document. Can I do that with the team real quick, please? Okay.
Please.
So everyone, Gaylord, Melvin, Pam, I want to make sure you all know, because you're clearly going to be putting documents places. So let me go back to shared.
You should just get on this call, Charles.
I use Google Drive for everything, but I have this folders, the shared IAEOZ Summit folder, right? So it has all of these 10 folders, but everything within them is like 62 62 folders in total, with all of the different, you know, activities, anything that we could possibly need to house, and you all need access to it. So when, you know, whatever you're doing, like, please, I want to make sure you know, like, at least we can all keep everything in one compository. And so one of the things in it, there are a few documents I already have ready too. So we're waiting for the green light to have a planning committee all hands. The reason I've been saying pause to Keith is because we can't have an all hands meeting where we get all of these executives that are on this planning committee together, and we're not 100% organized with, you know, what are we, like, dates, timelines, you know, whatever it is, because no one wants to get on a call and then we're asking everyone for their input, and it's all, you know, it's like, no, they're here to help and volunteer and support. So Keith and I have talked about it, and we're waiting until we're, you know, fully poised, right? But that's the planning committee. If there's anyone, I'll share these documents, but if there's anyone that you know that has not been mentioned, has not been listed, that should be, or has agreed to do something, please feel free to share. I'll share these in just a moment. Then I have a project management plan and timeline. I think I did this about a month or some change ago. We are, you know, obviously adjusting when we're not, you know, still finalizing some things, but budget and all these different things come from, you know, different members of the teams. But I will share this. I just want to make sure anyone knows, and if you tell anyone anything about any of these documents, I am not trying to control anything. I'm trying to say, here's some sort of structure. Please feel free to share edits, you know, but like, Nikki, that's not quite, you know, it, whatever. I'm not concerned about that at all. I just want to get it right. For our all hands meeting, I'll also share
Structure
an
is
agenda.
good.
Say it again.
I
Okay.
say structure is good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So, and then I'll share the agenda that we have planned, because I always create the agendas for our meetings with Keith, but I just think everyone needs to see an agenda before, so that, you know, we know what to expect. And then we have a welcome letter for everyone, right? But all of those things are just waiting. But I think if you feel free, if you get this, I'm sorry, if you get once you get the main folder link, please feel free, go into it and explore and see like where it, but if you could, please put anything you're creating inside of your relevant subfolder, okay? So I don't want to go through each subfolder now, because we were going to actually do that on another call, but if you need me to click into anything now while we're on the call, I'm happy to. Just trying to make sure that we're all sharing things in one place. And I even think for Pam's sanity, we could create like a simple form, whether it's a Google form or something where we could just, everyone could put their leads into a form so that she gets them in one place and she doesn't have to go track multiple emails from people. But that's your call, Pam. I just can imagine the craziness that might happen if you just start getting emails from people.
Absolutely. I don't like an email management situation.
So if you say you want, then do you use Google or do you only use Outlook? Okay.
I use Google.
Okay.
I use Outlook more because it's, you know, more centralized what I have. But I can use Google. I use that.
You tell me. I can either have my admin or Manpreet. You tell me what you need in intake, like what you need to take in from a form submission from everyone, or we can create one and then you can edit it, right? We can create like an outline of what the form should be. Once you give your final edits, then I can have my admin create the form, and then we can make that be the form that everyone's, you know, required, kindly requested to use, so that they submit their leads that way in one uniform place.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me stop sharing, excuse me.
So the bottom line, Nikki, thank you for sharing what you shared, and appreciate the hard work you're putting into helping put some structure and some organization to the process here. That's really welcomed, and thank you so much. But getting back on the topic of outreach efforts, so I would think we would set a goal for us to, this is the 29th, between now and Tuesday, Pam, Keith needs to send an email out to the team that just says, hey, Pam is the person that's basically coordinating a spreadsheet with all the leads and who's responsible for rev share purposes, so we can track that, right? And on a weekly basis, we're going to expect that you give us an update as to, you know, where it is, where the opportunities are, and if you need any help closing it, right? And so let's get, maybe by Tuesday, let's set a goal for by Tuesday to have that list in Pam's hands. Everybody has given Pam their list and she's got it all in one place, so that we can start the process of tracking what's going on with those leads. Does that sound reasonable, everybody, or not?
Yeah, so the inside of Nikki's first outreach to our planning committee, I'm sure it's going to be invitational and instructional, and broken down by, as you've seen here, committees, which we will add to that. Like, for example, Michelle Burnett, she's got to be on the sponsorship committee. Bingo. It's that letter outreach to the planning committee, who will then go to work on their lists, their relationships, and their email addresses, getting back to us. for a package that's done. And Melvin, this is why I say this is far from a cold call. That's number one. So Nikki, are you okay with that sequence of your letter, outreach, scheduling to include, or would that go just to the sponsorship? Because why would we?
So
Yeah.
once again, I just want to input this. So I'm not quite sure you heard what I asked to be done. Right? Everybody has to be assigned to your current list of 500 clients. Somebody needs to be assigned to every client to call them personally and make contact with them.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, and please forgive me because I haven't heard the whole thing. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, but clients aren't sponsors. Aren't we mixing things up? Again, maybe I'm just out of sync, but if we're talking about a list of sponsors to approach, clients are small businesses. They're not sponsors.
That's not true, Charles.
They're
If you look at the
cohort members.
sponsorship,
They're cohort
if you
members.
look at the sponsorship grid for IAEOZ, you see that there is a small business sponsorship package that any small business can say yes to and can be a
But
sponsor.
I recommend though that we, again, I think we're at precision outcome, predictive outcome level here. Those small businesses should not be overwhelmed by a package that they cannot afford.
Exactly. It has to be a completely different package.
No,
Yeah.
guys, you have to pay attention to the fact that we went through all of this before 2 weeks ago and developed a package specifically for smaller businesses to possibly be able to afford. Gaylord, am I on the same page with you that you're referencing at least this type of package?
But I'm not until I
Yes,
guess
exactly.
here's where the disconnect is, because none of us actually. I mean, like we could go ahead to that page, but you have to now read words opposed to seeing a package. This is where the potential disconnect continues to be until we get that package.
Because that's why there's an outreach. That's why we're saying someone needs to be assigned to the company so that we can not only meet with them possibly in person over a coffee or possibly on a Zoom or Teams call or a small group of maybe 3 to 5 businesses that may know each other or have something in common, share this on the screen and talk them through it. So I think it's important to kind of just be listening with open ears. You have a team of people around you saying, hey, if we assign and break down the 500 amongst 3 to 5 or however many 10 of us, then we can attack, hopefully larger numbers of us to attack, to be able to say or approach this to say, we are going to have a conversation and explain the package, but also have the visual that the team, your team, Oscar, Gaylord, Melvin already put together, and it's right here for them, and we'll give them the link. You can purchase it right now on our call. That's certainly a warmer approach than any other email campaign or anything else. It's a personal approach. And if you all, as the people, I've never been actually a client officially, but if you've worked with them and then you call them and say, hey, here's an opportunity to be featured. We can come up with a script or, script-ish so that people have a guideline, but here's an opportunity to be featured and support sustainability and support Puerto Rico and all the other things we do. And you can do it at this level that's comfortable and affordable to you. And your name will be on whatever it is. Just it's a no-brainer. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of people seeing emails and being like, eh.
No. I get you to the point where we're actually communicating, hearing, and visualizing now. And we're still at a gap on the visualization. But when Melvin produces what he is now going to produce, that cuts down on the void of clarity. I'm hearing a number of different approaches, including being assigned a group. That's going to be interesting. And how we do that, you said now it's all going to go in the repositories with Pam. I could tell you Candida is one of those persons with personality who would not mind and would be a part of. But what I am saying that Gaylord has previously made mention to that I'm not in alignment with, because it has everything to do with the revenue share. Once a person, that's why the easiest thing is for people to send their list, give it to Pam. with their contacts on it, their name behind it, or their name in that email. That is their revenue share opportunity. When you get into the larger base pool of one individual, two individuals, a group of individuals, actually getting on the phone, reaching out, setting up, warming the relationship, where does the revenue share come in?
I think it's important. There's your question. I'll pause, and please pause there. Two different things. One person managing the database of the submissions of all 500 versus a team of people closing the deals. If you're saying that Pam, because she's the one person to, that's going to handle it all, that means she's calling 500 people. I doubt it. So what we're saying, Keith,
That's
is
not
don't worry
Pam's job.
right. Don't
Pam's
worry
job
about
is
the
not
revenue
calling
share.
companies. That's not her
Right.
job.
So that we're not so if you can separate the revenue share part, Pam is not going to she's controlling and helping to make sure there's order to the submissions. The submission itself will automatically flag who the revenue is being shared with. There's no other need to, even if then anyone calling agrees that if you're calling, it doesn't mean you're doing revenue share. It means you're supporting this mission, right? So if Gaylord brings in 10 companies and he's getting 30% or whatever, and I say, you know what, I'll call 5 of the companies for you. I'm not gonna be like, well, don't forget to give me my cut. I'm just helping complete the calls.
Yeah, I understand that. Now we have to identify who are those call makers. Now, in the sense of, wait a minute, in the sense of, let me just finish.
Sorry.
On with the planning committee who have sponsored, it's them, their relationships. They're going to be taking our product, our package, the thing that Melvin's producing, what's on the website, and for IAOZ, boom, it's done. See, now all of a sudden I'm getting a little bit more excited about we've created a self-propelling program.
But that's exactly what Gaylord said. That's he was describing.
And here's the beauty, right? What Oscar's going to put together, I think all the businesses should get a copy of it. The reason being is because you'll realize you're going to be part of something that is much, much bigger than you. You're going to be a part of a movement that could change everything, that could help transform many businesses, right? And so if your part is $1,000 as a small business, you can take part. If your part is a prime contractor, is a bigger piece, then it's all part of that package. That package will allow everybody to be able to see, wow, from the small business all the way to the large prime, what their potential role and options are and how they could sponsor this movement.
Okay, so I think we're clear on that, but Charles, I beg to want to ask you, did you complete or you had what you had to say and you got your clarification? Is that what you're saying?
Well, as far as this call is concerned, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. So, Nikki, from a timeline perspective, do you want to go back to who's the sheet that shows the dates of our timeline? You're on mute. You're not talking to nobody. Still on mute.
No, give me a second. I was trying to control screens and stuff. Hold on. All right.
We got you. We can hear you now, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you. A little patience. Let me see.
You want me to? Yeah. Go ahead.
If I can say one thing, this is Candida. I unfortunately missed a lot of this conversation, but did you bring up the idea of putting the numbers that I need in one kind of a snapshot so I could get that to the potential sponsor, and then I'll go back on mute?
Yeah, the answer is you're going to have that package soon, and the IOZ is going to be separate than the corporate package, which you would like City National to see. And Gaylord, what are we? Oscar's supposed to get. Here's my recommendation, Gaylord. Please And Melvin, now you can see the importance of taking a recording, in this case of this meeting, and making sure it gets to the person who wasn't on here that really needs to see it. And it can even go with an email, not just sending it, hey, this is important or whatever. It's that kind of flow and communication in our disparate world of responsibilities that's going to help us. So Oscar needs to have this. The answer to your question, Candida, is yes. But people like Gaylord right now, even more so based upon, because of this meeting, have more to ensure, because Oscar has already said, listen, I'm only doing this once. So I'd like to get it right once. And Gaylord, Candida needs the package ASAP. There's a meeting, a bank meeting on Tuesday. So the timelines that you talked about, please be driven by, working with Candida.
But I just want everybody to know that Gaylord doesn't have a magic wand, and my magic wand doesn't work to make your date that you think it should be done by, that it can get done by then. Right now, it's in Oscar's hands, and whenever Oscar delivers it, it will be delivered first draft. We will, all the key stakeholders have to take a quick look at it, make any minor changes to it, I'm quite sure, and then it will be finalized and it can be distributed to Candida and everybody else on the team so that they can start to share it warmly with their contacts. But I think it's really important that between now and Tuesday, that list be done for Pam, and that Keith, you start assigning who you want to make those calls for groups of those companies. Obviously, we know Charles is going to have some companies he can call. Your 50 clients that you currently have, we need to have assignments as to who's going to call who. And so that Pam can track all that stuff, right? We know Candida has a group of people, she's including City National, and there's other people who probably have contacts as well. That needs to start happening. I will reach out to Oscar and say, hey, Oscar, where's the ETA? What's going on? And he'll let me know. And whatever that is, I'll shoot an email out to the team, letting them know what Oscar told me. Okay? You're on mute, Keith.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, and I appreciate what you're saying. Just understand, inside of what you just said, as we have 3 companies who have the fiscal capacity to do some of the bigger sponsorship, and they're ready, like that, my mind says, let's take it out the oven because it's ready, and it's ready for them. We'll get to an evolving state, and this thing will continue to expand. And that's what I believe in, that it will expand to other people using our final product. And that final product will be determined, by next week. I'm happy that we have a Pam collecting, and I'm seeing a good flow here now.
Okay.
Content is gonna. I'm so curious about what the content is gonna be about, and Charles, you should not be void of that content. So imagine, like, the photos that we talked about, and I know you're gonna say, Keith, I already gave you the link. No, Charles, you got to, in this type of project, every individual needs to personalize their thought process as to who they're literally writing to and looking to receive a check from, a response from, and a relationship with, whether it's Boeing or whether it's BAE or whether it's some of the other larger companies that we know, Charles, in the defense space. We have an evolving package that is so tremendous because of, one, what we just submitted, the teams that we bring, the conferences that we're going to be doing, which are in multiples, and the media that I'm starting to get really, really excited about.
Got it, Keith. Right.
So for clarity, are you saying no, don't focus on the 1,000? I just want to make sure I couldn't tell. You sound like you were
No,
saying.
let me tell you, there'll be somebody who's going to excel at focusing on pulling in $1,000 sponsorship. It just won't be me.
We're asking because Gaylord we have a deliverable, which is Keith, send an email to everyone or assign people to those 1,000. We're not asking you to do the calls.
Okay.
We're asking you to assign the people to do the calls, and we need to get that clarity today, so we're not talking about this in 2 weeks
Well, okay.
again.
Yeah, I mean, I think people like Oscar and Manpreet working together, maybe, and Calvin, I don't know, I don't know.
So here's the thing, because you're the leader of it, I can't go and call them and say, hey, can you do this? I can't call Oscar. I can't call, like they don't know me. This has to be your call as to who.
Well, I think what I would do in response to what you're saying, and that everything has an approach, an appropriate one at that, and that is we are about to launch an outreach for 50 members of the NMSDC cohort to be the first who get offered the opportunity to be on the Humanizing Government Contracting portal. With that being said, there's an outreach. He's actually working on that one-page flyer. Then there's the follow-up. Let Oscar be a part of the 50, and they may be the $1,000 players because they get exposed to the packages. And they'll see those options. Yeah.
Okay, so I just think I could foresee what happens is as we go 2 more weeks and certainly a month from now, and I have a hard stop at 4. I have company coming. I need to get dinner ready and move on. But when we're trying to get more dollars together because we decide to overlook at least, what is it, 400, 500 companies that could possibly donate $1,000 because you're saying, we'll deal with them, they'll come. Versus, let's do that. If there's a team of people on your core team that is willing to call companies, and you never know. We're thinking, we'll call them to see if they want to at least be $1,000 donor. We don't know what they have. We might say 5 or 10, and then that's one approach. It's not saying we don't go for the large ones. It's saying deploy a team and deploy them now so that we're not having scrambling later. We can be doing this now instead of waiting till September.
Well, no, I'm with you. And so in my response and the opportunity to respond, Candida is on the phone. You haven't met Candida. Now, I am going to be introducing her to Carl Brown because Carl and I, and that's at Howard. That's the media thing.
Oh, he is. We're working too.
Huh?
We're working together too. I know who he is.
Okay. No, I know you know. That's why I mentioned him.
Okay.
And so you meeting her and her background, you will be able to wedge, I'm going to use that word, or link the connection of why and how. And then on top of that, this is your revenue share too. If you have, you're part of it, she's on revenue share. And I'm just not throwing $1,000 away. I'm saying who's best to handle certain elements as it flows into the entirety of our workflow.
So Pam's handling the overall, and we're asking you, and for the record, everyone, I'm asking you, Keith, to assign one last time before I log off, assign people who you will give access to your clients so that they can call and break it down, 5 people.
I got the request.
So the ball's in your court. We're waiting for you to give us a list of people who can oversee your people to call. Okay, because they're your clients, so you have to be comfortable with who calls them. You all, God bless you. I'm going to go.
Wait a minute. Do you have something to say to Nikki at all, real quick?
Keith,
Go ahead.
it's Candida. I was going to say, wouldn't some of the other BAEs and those kind of folks want to know basically how many people, how many businesses does KDM reach? What is their level
We
of,
have that data that's already, okay, see you, Nikki. And we have that. Gaylord has made that, I thought you were part of the communication, a request, and we've gotten him that. And he says he's blown away by it. He should be, because we've done a hell of a job, and I know he knows how to communicate that. So Gaylord.
I think that email was on. I think Candida was on that email, but if not, I'll go check. And if it's not, I'll send it over to you, Candida. And even if your name is on there, I'll send it to you again anyway.
Well, I think, Gaylord, the closing comment maybe here is this. you've done this before, and that is to communicate a vision of the overall actual what's happening. Okay? Like, and
Yep.
that's okay, so that's what's missing. We've identified what's missing that Melvin's going to satisfy. We've identified what's missing that Oscar's going to deal with. And so now
Right.
we kind of have this all brought into a package. And please, let's fully salute to Monday. So Tuesday, the guy could have had it to go over it, ask Candida questions over in LA, and we get answers, and his presentation is pristine. Hopefully that we agreed to that schedule. We okay? You froze there. It looks like Charles, you're there, right?
I'm here.
Yeah, but he didn't froze. Okay, so Candida, did I spell that out pretty clearly? And yeah.
Yes, I understand. It sounds like it's between Gaylord and perhaps Pam and
Oscar. It's more like Oscar. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. You good? I'm gonna let you go. Thanks. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Gaylord's gone. I think. Yeah. Hello. This is Keith.
Hi, this is Saya calling with Prince William Home Improvement.
Oh no. That's not. Can't do that. All right. Well. Okay. So Charles, you good? I'm trying to get out of here, and I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on, but this was a good meeting. I need to take care of some finished things, and we are in Sam. Pam, you know that by now? We are in Sam, right, Charles?
Yeah, I talked to Pam.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Mhm.
So we climbed yet another hurdle, right? We don't, I mean, at minimum, we can't be dejected for not being in Sam.
Keith, you do, by the way, you do have to check, every half day your OGTV email, because they should be sending you the IRS match confirmation and then the confirmation of reactivation. So you do have to check that twice a day, please, okay? And
Make
let
sure
us
you
know.
let us know. Let Charles know.
Right.
Hopefully I get it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. So Charles, the next meeting is Tuesday for ADA. Is that what we're talking about?
We weren't talking about that. I mean,
No,
we were talking about that before. I don't know. No,
Is the next meeting with your team?
we're not going to
Tuesday?
have a meeting with everybody in the world on the team. I remember you're totally obviously you're welcome, and otherwise it's going to be Oscar, Miranda, and Richard if he
Richard,
can make it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
For Tuesday.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the scheduled weekly ADA meetings, which can go 2 hours and involve all kinds of hotel logistics and all that.
No. I literally, and you and I have talked sufficiently enough, but there's some things that we want to be able to lock down to make not only the partnership realized in the biggest way, but Lana and them need to know Richard.
Oh yeah. No, it's going to be with Lana.
Oscar.
It's going to be with Lana and Cody. Sure, and
Okay.
and you and Oscar and Richard and Miranda. Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, the winner beyond what we've talked about before, frankly, is going to be our ability to do media that you have not previously captured and taken advantage of. And that's going to be revenue generating in a way that you can't believe. And
Yeah,
it seems.
No, I think that sounds great. And again, I do want to speak to whoever you want me to,
Okay.
one or two people, to get the details of, like the periodicity, what would the program involve, podcast, social media, whatever, all of that stuff, just so we
Okay.
put together a list, okay?
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we made progress this week. I'm actually thankful for it.